There is no deal. There will not be any deal. Or the deal that will be cut will be worse than no deal. If that's the case, before 589 days from today, November 8th, 2016, general election in the United States, there's a high probability that Jews will start to be slaughtered all over the world as a response to 2, 3, maybe 4 facilities in Iran that get devastated one unique evening in the near future. From what those in the West are saying, and from what those in this country are saying, is that not only is it necessary for the continuation of this state, but necessary for the vitality of the West, that those facilities have to be evaporated. If you talk to the experts, they'll tell you the consequences, the second effect to a devastating attack upon at least 4 facilities in Iran will be a devastating repercussions against Jews worldwide. If you think the rioting around the country for Operation Protective Edge was lethal, was extreme, you ain't seen nothing till after Israel hits these facilities in Iran and you see the Islamic world explode. Probably our imaginations can't visualize what will be occurring and how that will be calibrated down or dealt with. But the alternative is even more unimaginable. That's at the point at which we are at today in this world. Not a very happy message, but I'm not here to bring happiness and joy and fun and all of that. We're concluding a 10-day fact-finding mission on national security issues in this country. And we've had an opportunity, not just through this trip, but this is what we do, to get a good feel for the level of the consequences before the West. Going to be some dark days ahead. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Trento. Nice to see all of you. Okay. You have to smile to some extent through the almost the theater of the absurd in which we live, and Jerusalem and Tel Aviv are kind of a juxtaposition that shows this pretty dramatically. We were up on the Temple Mount. Was that yesterday? Day before yesterday? Day before yesterday. We went up on the Temple Mount. You've all been up there. If you haven't, you need to go there. I call it the mountain where the Jewish temple is. We were up there, and two very interesting moments showing this clash of cultures, clash of civilizations that will never end. It can't end. It'll never end. For 1,400 years, Islam has been slicing each other's throats. We probably be a good bet to say they're going to do that for at least another 1,400 years, at least. And we're going to be in the midst of that. Give them big toys that explode. That's a good thing to do. But 2 little developments on the Temple Mount of the Jewish temple. Yesterday, as you know, the Hamas pays a bunch of just cheerful ladies in complete burqas to scream and yell at Jews when they walk by. And now they train these little kids to do the same, Allahu Akbars. So we're standing there, our guide is talking to us, and around the corner, they start screaming and yelling at this, somebody walked by. And then one of our guys walked out to videotape about 15, 20 women yelling, Allahu Akbar, they get bussed in. And a little 9-year-old, little Islamic girl runs out and screaming, and my son Michael got a beautiful shot of this, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And you see no hope, no hope. When a 9-year-old girl up there starts yelling at people, this type of vitriolic hatred, there is no hope, okay? There's only destruction of people that want to kill you. I mean, it really comes down to those sort of issues, sadly. But it's the mindset that we've been dealing with for many, many years. So it started to escalate. I had to go grab our guy and get him out of there. And then the morality police came and told us to get out of here and all of that. So we moved, we went around, and we went in front of that building there with the golden whatever kind of building that is over there. It's not a mosque, by the way. I hope we all know that. It's not a mosque. The mosque, Aqsa, is on the other side. And I was shooting just a little 30-second video, and I said, hi, Tom Trento. Oh, look at my friend over here, Michael. He comes in, I put my arm around him. Oh, look at my friend Jerusalem Jane over here. And she comes in, and I put my arm around Jerusalem Jane. And then you can see in the video, the morality police take off, come and hit my arm. Get your arm off of her. Get your arm off of her. I was not allowed to put my arm around a friend like this. It's all on videotape. And I said, oh, okay, no problem. We didn't want, I especially don't want an international incident on the Temple Mount, at least at that level. Didn't want that. I said, sorry, no problem. Then his big boss comes by, grabs my phone and says, erase it, erase it. So he goes, erase it, erase it. So he starts yelling. I go, okay. So I get it, and they're sharp. He hit the little icon that show. I'm making believe I can't find it. He hits it. He finds the video. He goes, erase that. I said, okay, no problem. And I started moving my fingers around, and somehow it disappeared. But 10 minutes later, it came back somehow. And it's up on my Facebook page now. You can see it. We left, and we gathered our small group of 25, and we just said, what hope is there for these folks that can't teach their children to hate that vitriolic way, and then have to deny? There was no immorality going on. It was a Western, the Western sharing of friendship. Of just touching, it wasn't even touching, I had my arm like this. That this is so offensive that it's a destabilized it's an incoherent system, Islam. That's what we're dealing with. Now, just very interesting little tidbits in our experience, but our goal for the past 10 days was to hit the 4 hotspots in Israel. We went down to the Gaza Strip, to Nahrim, the kibbutz down there, spent the day being briefed at Eshkol and standing in the mortar hole where the mortar came over on the last day of the war and killed 2 of the kibbutz workers and knocked the legs off of another one. And the mortar hole, they keep it there. It's very shallow. The mortars blow up and out. They don't go down. We then went up to the Lebanese border. Then we went up to Mizrav Am, the kibbutz way up there. Went over to the Syrian side, and then went into East Jerusalem and gave our folks a good insight into what's going on. The bottom line, what we're doing, the United West. Okay, I can eat and talk. How about that?
You want to drink?
No. I'll finish. Yeah. The bottom line, what we're doing, our organization, the United West, we are simply trying to do that. We see that the Ummah, the 56 plus 1 nations, are trying to unite, which they never will be able to do, but they're trying to. So in an effort to counter that unification, we formed an organization years ago, originally the Florida Security Council, but then it grew beyond that, to the United West, to take those entities that are founded on the Judeo-Christian worldview and have a common fundamental basis, and to unify them on these unchanging principles, which are better than the other guy's principles, and then start the educational process, as many of you do in here, particularly Dr. Martin Sherman with his work. Start the educational process to say, you know what? Our stuff is better than them on its face, and now let's construct a world in which our principles prevail over their principles. And that'll be a better world. Sadly, as we see, this has escalated to lethality, to warfare, and add to that a president in the United States that plays for the other team. Our president plays for the other team. It's that simple. His policies and his actions accommodate and enable the bad guys. It was the Brotherhood. When he first started in 2008, he was a pretty good supporter of the Brotherhood. He's got 6, 7, 8 guys in his administration who are card-carrying Muslim brothers. But Valerie Jarrett, born in Iran, has gotten to him and said, the best bet for regional stability and for a balanced world is to go with the other guys, to go with the Shia. The Iranians are not dopey Arabs. They are smart Persians. Let's place our money on the Persians. So we have seen over the past 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, a fundamental philosophical and geopolitical shift from the dopey Arabs to the smart Persians. And the consequences of that geopolitical move will result in what I mentioned at the beginning, an attack by somebody, possibly Israel, and then devastation for a while worldwide, and who knows what happens from there. Just fun stuff. Another day in Israel, but we have been blessed, energized, excited, educated by not just the experts that we have dealt with over the past 10 days, but more so the people, the resilience of the Israeli. And I make a distinction between an Israeli Jew and a New York leftist Jew who doesn't even like Israel. You know, the Israeli is something else. We had an 18-year-old young woman who functioned like a 30-year-old woman at Trento, the Armored Division Museum yesterday, as our tour guide, telling us about the wars and all of this, 18 years old. And you look at these people, and there's such sophistication and education and maturity at such a young age. And one of the things we were doing in our group, and by the way, in our group is Damon, our producer back there for our show, my son Michael, who helps with production, Alan Kornman, who was here 3 years ago, and Ed Sasso, our good friend right here. Ed, if you could raise your hand. And then a whole bunch of people left yesterday. But one of the things that we were talking about was the way in which Israeli families hand down the heritage to their children of the essential necessity of maintaining a state so that Jews, wherever they want to come home, there's a place to come home to, unknown for 2,000 years, absolutely not even possible. But this heritage, this destiny, this manifest destiny is now handed down through the generations and through the kids. So not only is that intellectual component handed down, but with that comes the fact that you now have to carry an M16. And when you carry that M16, you may have to use it to kill people who want to kill you. That component of existence is handed down. And along with that is a concern and compassion for humans. Not to kill for the sake of killing as the other team does, but kill for the sake of living, which sadly in a broken world is essential. So we've been amazed. Batsy, thank you very much for bringing us in here. And if you want to find out more about us, it's very easy. We make a lot of noise on the internet. We have a daily radio show, commercial radio, that plays in South Florida and in Tampa. And then it's actually a television show we produce in a small studio. And the show goes on the internet all over the place, Breitbart TV. And we're hitting about 10,000 people a day on a very modest budget, but we're hitting opinion makers, opinion leaders, and activists. So one of the follow-ups to this trip is the organization of people who want to be involved in various countries to be this united West and to stand against the bad guys. And mark my words, there's going to be a moment when there is going to be an attack in Iran, and the world is going to explode for a while. It's essential at that point to be on the streets, organizing, standing with Israel, forcing administrations and governments to not condemn Israel, to support and resupply at a very important moment. That time is in the near future. Thank you.